Hey guys, techmadeezy, and thank you so much for clicking on our video today. Well, Superman is hanging out in the back there as we do the review on the EcoFlow River 2 Max. Now, we recently did a review on the EcoFlow River 2, and we'll put an image up real quick so you can see what that looks like. We'll put links in the description. Listen, they redesigned the way this looks. They put a much better battery. This has a lithium iron phosphate battery. You can get over 3,000 cycles. This thing will last for years. They've got a brand new warranty that's a 5-year warranty, which is really nice. This can handle 500 watts, and if you turn X Boost on and some appliances and devices, it can handle up to 1,000 watts, which is crazy. So let's go ahead and check this review out. Hi, this is Al from techmadeezy with a really quick message. The video you're about to watch is sponsored. We received this product from the vendor. But keep in mind, we will be very honest with you as we review the product. That is very important to us. If you like our video, I sure hope you give us a thumbs up. I hope you share our video. And last, I really hope you subscribe and become a part of the family. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get this unboxed. And there it goes, everything that you get, all taken out, made easy for you. So you do get a user manual, you do get a car charger, you get the plug. It plugs right into the back. There's no big AC brick to carry around. And of course you get a barrel plug if you're going to use that as well. And we've got some accessories we'll show you later on in the video. And here is the EcoFlow River 2 Max. Now let's take a look at this next to a River 2 for a moment. And there's a quick look at the River 2 and the River 2 Max. We also have the River 2 Pro coming out. We're going to do a review on that. Then we're going to do a helpful comparison of all three. So take a look at the image on the screen real quick. That's going to come out soon. So you're going to want to subscribe and turn on your notifications. And after that, we're going to work on a River to River 2 comparison, comparing the original Rivers to the River 2 series. That'll be a little longer, but again, subscribe, and let's move on with this video. Let's go ahead and take a close look. After this, we'll go over basics, we'll go over specs with you, but left-hand corner, as you can see here, you've got 3 USB Type A, 1 Type C, your power button for the units right here. Your DC plug is here for your car charger. You've got 2 barrel plugs here and a dedicated button for DC. We'll show you some accessories so you can convert these to car charging ports if you don't use these. Now, as you go down on the bottom, you've got your AC power button and, of course, 2 3-prong and 2 2-prong, so that's unique, that's different. Now, the USB port doesn't have a power button, so I'm assuming the main button will power the USB. All right, now as we take a look at the top, we've got a nice flat top now and a handle, which is really going to be great to just drag this around and take it wherever you want. You've got your ventilation on the left and on the right with your fans. And let's take a moment and look at the back and the bottom. All right, looking at the back, we've got the plug that goes right in there. There's no big AC power brick to carry around. We've got the XT60 right there. We've got some specs here. And if we look at the bottom of the unit, right, people always want to know, is it going to scratch up where I'm going to be placing it? No, this is a real simple. You've got 4 rubber pieces here that'll protect wherever you're going to place this. And that is our close look. Let's go ahead and go over some specs now. So let's go ahead and go over some basics. So this is, again, the River 2 Max. It's $599 MSRP. Now, the power, the inverter, is a 500 watt inverter, but if you use X Boost, okay, you have to turn that on. That will support appliances and devices up to 1,000 watts. Now, that's not all devices and appliances, so be careful, read your manual on that one. This has a lithium iron phosphate battery, which is also known as LFP. And the great thing about that is this has 3,000 life cycles, and then after that, it goes to 80% plus. So as long as you maintain this battery, it is going to last. And when we talk about maintaining the battery, you don't want it to go to 0 and sit for a long time, and you don't want it to be at 100% and sit for a long time, okay? And in general, you don't want this to sit for like 6, 7, 8, 9 months, all right? There is some maintenance things that you need to do with the battery, so make sure you look at the manual. This has extreme technology, so when you're charging this, you can charge this from 0 to 100% in 60 minutes, which is phenomenal. It's even faster to charge now. Now, the battery size in this is 512 watt hours. So when you're learning about power stations, you want to know how much power will it have, but also how big is the battery. Because I've had people say, wow, this thing powered my device, but it didn't last long. And I'm like, yeah, because you've got to connect the dots. The inverter, which is your power, right, 500 watts, and your battery, 512 watt hours. Now, this does have a BMS, and that basically will protect the unit, right? It'll protect it from current, voltage, and temperature. So just know that you don't have to worry about that. Now, if you're familiar with a feature called UPS, which is uninterrupted power supply, well, this has something called EPS. All right. Now, the reason why they can't call it a UPS is because this is about 30 milliseconds. UPSs are usually around 10 milliseconds or less than that. Now, solar on this is 11 to 50 volts, 13 amp, and a maximum of 220 watts of solar. Now, the real nice thing I like about EcoFlow is they give you 2 ways to connect to this. You can connect to it via Bluetooth, or you can connect to it via Wi-Fi. So I like that you have that. Now, why is that important? Because you can update the firmware on this. You can also manage it remotely. Let's say you have to run to the store and for some reason you have to watch the power. Well, as long as you've connected this to Wi-Fi on your app through the internet, you can monitor it, which is really nice. Now, weight, this is 13.4 pounds or 6.078 kilograms. This has got a wonderful 5-year warranty. As you saw, the accessories it came with, the AC charger, the car charger, that DC barrel plug, and the manual. So let's talk a little bit more about the ports. Let's now cover the ports and the outlets. Let me start off by saying this has 4 ways to charge now, which is really cool. So you've got AC, you've got car charge, you've got solar, and now this new Type-C port is an in and an out. So it supports 100 watts, and you can charge devices with it, or you can charge the River 2 Max, which is cool. So let's go over some of the outlets now. The AC outlets are 500 watts, and if you turn on X-Boost, it'll support up to 1,000 watts. Again, be careful. There are certain devices that don't do well with X-Boost, so just learn a little bit about that. Now, Type A ports, these are 12 watt, all 3 of them, okay? So you have 12 watt there. Again, the Type-C is 100 watt in and out. You've got a car charge outlet over here. It's 126 watts. It's a 12.6 volt. And the barrel plugs, by the way, are 12.6 volt, 36 watts. And again, check out our accessories section later, and we'll show you how you can convert these to more car chargers, which is nice. And that's all as far as ports are concerned and outlets. So now I'm going to show you some accessories I highly recommend. And this is one of the accessories. It's actually a 2-pack. It is a USB flexible light. All right, and all you have to do is place it where you want, tap the corner right here, and this is how you turn it on and off. Now let me just tell you, this thing uses like a half a watt. So as you can see, it's connected, it's on, and it's not even reading any wattage. So this thing will last forever as far as power is concerned. It does come in a 2-pack. We'll put some links in the description. Now let me show you a couple more accessories real quick. I talked earlier about converting the DC barrel plugs, right? A lot of people don't use these. So I found a car charger that actually just plugs right in to the barrel plug, giving you a covered car charger, and you just take the cover off when you want to use it. So you can pick up 2 of these if you want. We'll put links in the description. Now, what if you really don't use USB Type-C and you'd like to convert that to a USB Type-A? Well, here's a cable that we have. All right, it basically plugs into the USB Type-C and it converts it to a USB Type-A. Now, on the other side, what if you really want more USB Type-Cs? Well, we have another adapter. It's a small adapter. And again, you basically put it in one of the Type-A's and you've just converted that to another Type-C. And those are the accessories that we like. All right, this next section is called Know Before You Buy. And I've started putting this in all my power station videos to help the beginners. Just folks that are kind of new to solar generators or power stations, whatever you want to call it, right? So this first slide really describes, in my opinion, what this power station is that I'm actually showing you today, right? The River 2 Max. And as you can see, I've got, 4 categories, right? Small, lightweight, medium expandable, and then I put heavy duty. And so the River 2 Max falls into medium size, right? It's portable. It's not really that heavy, to be honest with you, but this is great for phones and tablets and LED lights and, plugging in your TV for a few hours. Check out the testing on the refrigerator test later on, and you'll actually see how many hours we got with our full-size refrigerator. You could plug fans in. So this is really, really nice. All right, let's continue on. All right, now this is a 3-part section in Know Before You Buy. Again, great for beginners. And the reason why I put this together is I had a friend that took advantage of a sale and bought a power station not too long ago. And she was really disappointed that the power station couldn't run a coffee maker. And, that's the thing, right? These power stations people think can power anything, but they don't realize how many watts a lot of the newer coffee makers actually take. I've got a Keurig that uses 1,400 watts to make a cup of coffee, right? Think about that. This power station I'm talking about today, right, this River 2 Max, will not power that coffee maker. Will it power a smaller coffee maker? I'm pretty sure, but it wouldn't power this big one. So we're going to go over 3 things today. And again, this is to save you money and to save you a headache. I don't want you to be disappointed in your purchase. So on the screen, we've got number 1. Think about what you want to power. What appliances, what devices, right? Or is it for a camping trip? Is it for a road trip? Is it for an emergency, right? What do you want to power? A refrigerator for a couple of hours, maybe longer because power goes out where you live. What about your internet, your power tools? What about a CPAP device? So number 1, I want you to stop and write down, if the power went out, what you would want to power. Now let's talk about number 2. How much power do your appliances or devices require? Now, most of us don't know that. I'm going to show you an accessory in a few minutes that's going to help you with that decision, okay? But, you got to know how much power these devices require. You have to, because you want to buy a power station that's going to support your needs. Now look at the green arrow. Are you aware of startup wattage, surge wattage? Like my refrigerator, right? It uses 85 watts, it uses 55 watts, it uses 0 at times when the refrigerator is nice and cold. But when my compressor kicks on, I believe it uses a little over 200 watts. So, if I'm going to use the power station for a refrigerator, I need to know that. All right, look at the examples down on the bottom. LED lights use around 5 watts, maybe more. Laptops can use around 100, again, maybe more. TVs can vary. If you have an old TV, that darn thing could use 300-400 watts Newer TVs, really, these LED flat screen TVs, mine uses about 140. Refrigerators can vary. Is it a college refrigerator, like a real small one? Is it a full-size one? And you got to know not only how much wattage, but when that compressor kicks on. And then CPAPs, they vary anywhere from 50 to 150 watts, and you need that for overnight. So here it is, number 3. How long will you need to power your appliances or devices, right? Again, most of us won't know, right? There are some people that have power situations. My power goes out for like 2 days once a year, right? Again, you want to know how long. You just want to be prepared, right? As much as you can be. And let's just say your power goes out for a day once a year, right? Well, there is your example, all right? Let's take a moment to put this all together real quick. So, number 1, what do you want to power? What appliances or devices? Number 2, how much power do they require? And don't forget, startup wattage, surge wattage, your refrigerator, the compressor that kicks on. And number 3, how long? If you can come up with this information, you're going to be better off when you make your purchase. Now, I'm going to show you some estimated run times. Let's take a look at that, and then I'll recommend an accessory that I think will help you understand your power needs. So let's go ahead and take some time and go over the River 2 Max and the 512 watt-hour battery it has in it. And these are some estimated run times, okay? So we're going to start off with the small refrigerator, right? Kind of like a college refrigerator. They use around 75 watts. So the River 2 Max could probably run it for around 6.5 hours. A full-size refrigerator, in this example, if it used 200 watts consistently, you can get 2.5 hours out of it. But listen, full-size refrigerators don't do that. They turn off, they turn back on, the compressor kicks on, so you can probably get a drop longer than this. Now, what about if you wanted to keep the home internet running, your router and your modem? That would be about 50 watts. You could probably get around 10 hours. What about a fan? Those standing fans. A standard fan's around 60 watts. You can get about 8 hours. An LED light is about 10 watts, maybe less, maybe more. But in that example, you can get around 50 hours. And what about a CPAP? So a 60-watt CPAP can run around 8 hours, and a 100-watt can run around 5 hours. Now, what about phones? iPhone 12, you can get about 20 charges. A Samsung S21, you can get about 14 charges. Now, can you connect a couple of these things? What if I wanted a light, a fan, and I wanted to plug my refrigerator in? You could, but then keep in mind, your time would be adjusted, right? You would have to combine and really adjust the times, but you could do it, maybe for an hour, maybe 2 hours. All right? I hope this information was helpful. Let's check out this accessory that I was talking about earlier. So here is a highly recommended accessory. Now let's say you want to know how much wattage your TV uses, right? Well, what you would do is you would take this device, plug it into your wall, and then you would plug your TV into it. And then you would go to the menu and you would switch it over to wattage. And this thing will tell you how many watts that TV uses. And then you can move it over to a laptop. You can move it over to an LED light. And then you could see the wattage those devices use. And by the way, wattage is just one of the things that this accessory will do. It'll give you even more information, but I wanted to keep it simple. So I highly recommend this, and I will put a link in the description. So we're going to do a simple demo, so you know what this device is about. Again, it doesn't cost much, first of all, right? I think it's around $25. And depending on the brand that's available, we'll put a link in the description. But just realize also that you can't plug everything into this. I believe there's like an 1,800 watt limit and a certain amount of amps. Now, I know that's complicated, but if you want to know how many watts your light is using, how many watts your refrigerator is using, how many watts your laptop uses, your phone. This is perfect for it, okay? So this is plugged into my outlet, as you can see on the wall, and now I've got this light plugged in here. So all I need to do now is turn on the light, and let's see how many watts it uses. Now, again, it is on the watt screen, and this does do more than watts, so just be aware, okay? You can actually figure out kilowatts, which is how your electric company bills you. But I don't want to get that complicated. So let me turn the light on. And look at that. We're using 6.3 watts on the LED light. That's really good, right? And again, plug in your laptop, plug in your phone. Again, you'll learn more about the wattage that your appliances use, even your coffee maker. But if this was helpful, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And we're going to continue on with the review. So one of the things that's important when you're thinking about getting a power station is try to make sure you get one that has a pure sine wave inverter. And what that really means is, as you could see, we're connected to the AC port here, the AC outlet, and we're just checking to see that this unit is a pure sine wave inverter. That's clean power, okay? Less noise. You know, if you connect a fan to this and it didn't have a pure sine wave inverter, it'd be noisy. So pure sine wave inverters are great for audio and video devices, okay? Laser jet printers. If you have a CPAP, they say that it affects a CPAP. So not much more, but EcoFlow, to my knowledge, has always provided a pure sine wave inverter. And you can see by the waves that this is actually a pure sine wave inverter. Okay? Something to think about. I hope this is helpful. One feature you gotta have when you buy yourself a power station is pass-through charging. Now, what is that? Well, these have to be charged, right? And as you can see, we're plugged into AC, and we're getting almost 650 watts, input. But there are power stations out there that when you're charging them, you can't discharge them or pass-through charging. Well, this River 2 Max, you can charge it even with solar, and while you're charging it, you can use it. So we have a charger plugged in here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on the AC outlet, and you'll actually see that while I'm charging this power station, I can still use that power, pass-through charging. And there you go. I've got 900 watts coming in on AC. I've got 300 watts going out to the charger. And that is an example of pass-through charging, something you need to get if you get a power station. All right, I am in the bedroom, and I'm about to demo EPS mode. If you're familiar with UPS, which is uninterrupted power supply, well, EPS specifically is just a little slower. Okay, so it's not necessarily the best thing to use when it comes to computers and sensitive electronics because it takes a little longer to kick on. So we've got our light there, and what happens is our power is being supplied through this outlet. All right, and so as you can see here, we're powering the light at 17 watts, and we're receiving 600 and change because the unit is actually being charged while it's actually powering the light. So let's go ahead and just turn off the switch. Now, when I hit this switch, what I want you to watch is the light and if it dims and how fast it switches over. So I'm going to actually just keep this right here, and I'm going to count to 3. All right? 1, 2, 3. And honestly, that light dimmed pretty darn quick. And as you could see, it is now powering the light, but it's not being charged anymore. Now let me turn it back on and see what happens. 1, 2, 3. All right, so it takes a second to kick in. And so we're about 30 milliseconds or possibly a little bit more. Now I'll show you real quick again, and then we'll be done with the demonstration. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So as you can see, the light dimmed slightly, but the unit automatically switched over. And that is your demo of EPS mode. So I'm here in the kitchen, and one of the questions a lot of people have is, can these power stations power a coffee maker, a microwave, maybe even a refrigerator? And the good news is they could actually power a refrigerator for a short period of time. See, they can support the power of most refrigerators, but the batteries in them are not big batteries, so they won't last long. But they cannot power a microwave, and they cannot power my coffee maker, because this guy uses up to 1,400 watts for a short period of time to make a cup of coffee. And that's something a lot of people are just like amazed at. They're like, wow, I didn't realize that a coffee maker uses more power than a refrigerator. But yeah, so if you're thinking about maybe a larger unit that can actually power a coffee maker and have a larger battery, you might want to check out our Delta Max video right here. The Delta Max video is great because this unit has more power and it's also expandable. So check that out. And I hope this information helped you. All right, so EcoFlow says that they can charge this up extremely quick. It's 6:45 p.m. Let me go ahead and plug this into the back. All right. Let's take a peek at the wattage going in. 148. All right, let's watch this for a minute and see. 291, 3, 400, 500, 545. Again, it's at 0%. All right, 550. Well, I see 558. Looks like the high number. 561. So it says it's going to take about an hour to charge fully. All right. So it is 6:45 when we plug this in. Let's see how long it takes. So it's a half hour, right? Are we at 50%? That's the question. We started at 6:45 p.m. We were at 0. Well, let's take a look. And look at that. We are 53% charged. Not only are we halfway, but we're over halfway. 54% is 636 watts. That's the highest I've seen so far. Earlier, it was 561 watts. 636 watts, 54%. Well, we'll check in an hour. Look at that. It's 7:44 p.m. You saw that. It's 100% charged. I mean, this thing in under an hour, 59 minutes, 100% charged. I love that. That is phenomenal. So here's the question. Can this small power station power my 55-inch TV, my home internet, my router, my security cameras, the TV lights that are going to come on in a little while, this fan, and a refrigerator? Well, I guess let's find out. All right, everything is off. No power on the internet, nothing on the security cameras, the TV's off, everything's off. Let's go ahead and turn this on and watch the startup wattage. All right, it's turned on. All right, we got 22, 51, 81, 84. 85 was the highest, 86, 130. TV's turning on as well. 128. All right, 130. 133. And give it a second. The TV does that with Roku. It'll somehow lose, I don't know what it does, the Roku. But it's coming on in a moment. TV's back on. We're back up again. 134. And let's turn the fan on now that we're settling around 130-ish, right? Think about that. The TV doesn't use that much power. People are surprised. All right, but let's turn the fan on. All right, the fan needs to be clean. All right, the fan is now on, and we're at 174. All right, let's turn the fan on high. 175. Fan's now on high. All right, about 184, 185. Now, what do we do if we go ahead and plug in that refrigerator, huh? We got 186 as a high. TV's on, fan's on high. Okay, let's go ahead and plug the refrigerator in a minute and see what we get. Okay, we plugged our refrigerator in. The outlet's not plugged in yet. As you can see, we don't have power. Let's go there and check that out and see what we get. All right, I'm back, and I'm now going to plug in the refrigerator, and you'll see some startup wattage. It won't be the compressor, because the compressor will kick in later on. The refrigerator, by the way, is a new model. I will put an image up on the left side there for a moment, so you can see the specs of the refrigerator. It is very efficient. It's been on, so all we're going to have is startup wattage. But let's go ahead and watch this as we plug this in. So we're at 181 is the high. 185, 187, 189, 351. All right, so we've jumped up to 351 as the refrigerator turned back on. And now we're going to settle where we left off, about 181, 182 watts. And you're asking yourself why? Well, the refrigerator's been on, right? So it's already cold, and the compressor's not on right now. But when the compressor kicks on, this thing's going to go up another, like, probably 200 watts, you know? So we're looking at almost, 400 watts, maybe 500 watts, at short periods of time as the compressor kicks on, And so, yeah, there's our test. Again, internet, security cameras, right? TV, Roku, fan, refrigerator. Not bad at all. So now that we know that this can power all those devices, how long can it power a refrigerator? How many hours? Or how many days? Well, let's check that out. Well, good morning. We're going to go ahead and plug in this small power station to power this refrigerator. And we're going to see how many hours we get. We're not going to get days. The battery's too small. But this small power station can actually help you if you lose power for a little while. And you can plug solar in and actually have it charging solar. So let's go ahead. The refrigerator's off. Let's just start the test, and then I'm going to give you some information on the power station. So I'm going to turn on AC and watch, how many watts it initially pulls. 162, 169. Okay, so 169 just to turn it on. Now keep in mind the refrigerator has been on for a long time, so it doesn't need, the compressor doesn't need to kick on right now, okay? But when the compressor kicks on, it will definitely use, 200 watts or so, around there. But from time to time, it'll use 75, it'll use 60. Now, let me go ahead and put up a little image on the right side so you can actually see some of the specifications of the refrigerator. This is a 2021 refrigerator, so it's a real efficient refrigerator for a full-size refrigerator. Okay, so, take a look at that. But 8:30 in the morning, how long will this power station power the refrigerator? Well, we'll be back. 11:20 in the morning, we're at 80%. 11:20 a.m. 1:35 p.m., we're at 49%, showing about 43 watts going out on the refrigerator. All right, not bad. 1:35 p.m., 49%. 2:45 p.m., and we are at 37%. 4:30 p.m., 18%. 18%, 4:30 p.m. Wow. Well, this should be 9 hours and 15 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. I am amazed at this little battery, right? This is lithium iron phosphate, by the way. The battery's going to last for years. We've got 8% left. About 60 watts going out to the refrigerator right now. But wow, that's pretty cool. All right, well, we'll find out when this thing dies. 9 hours and 45 minutes. We are down to 1%. 9 hours, 45 minutes, 1%. Wow, I am very impressed. All right, we are at 10 hours into this test. 1% left with 84 watts. Look at 85 watts being used by the refrigerator. Wow, 10 hours. And that 1%, I'll tell you, it takes a while. 10 hours and 8 minutes. That is really impressive. And I need to plug the refrigerator back in. Good test. So let's go ahead and test the 600 watts on this thing. Now, yeah, it's got this 1000 watts X boost, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think it'll work in this scenario. I think it's just certain devices and appliances. So I'd like to be realistic. So let's go ahead, and I've got a dual side charger. I'm going to start off with one battery. We'll watch it on the app, okay? Because you can see on the screen or the app. But let's turn on the AC outlet. And let me grab the app, and we'll just watch the wattage, the output wattage. All right, there you go. We're at 100, 175, 2 and change, 236. Okay, so we got about 247 watts going out, right? So let's just say, as an example, you were using an appliance that used 246 watts. This would tell you it would last an hour and 42 minutes, right? Because, again, this is a 600 watt unit. It's also based off the battery capacity. But let's go ahead and put on another battery and see what happens now. Again, it should be able to handle it. If it's going to be around 246 on the other side, we should probably get about 500 watts. All right, 465, 480, 488. All right, so we're not really pushing it, right? This is a 600 watt unit. Let's try something else, all right? I'm going to go ahead and turn off the AC outlet remotely, which is cool. And what I'm going to do is I'll take one battery off. I'm going to plug in this is a 600 watt, 700 watt charger. I'm going to plug it in here. Okay. And let's start off with just the 700 watt, 600 watt. Let me turn on the AC. All right, and watch the wattage. All right, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. All right, so we're getting 400 watts on that thing so far. 475. Okay. All right. The fan on the charger just turned on. So we got 500 watts so far. So let's go ahead and plug in the other charger with one battery and see what happens, right? So that would be 500 plus 246, right? We're talking 740 something watts. I just don't know if it'll work, but let's try it. I'm going to plug it in. And let's watch. All right, that's lighting up. I got 575, 600, 620, 630, and boom. Yeah. You know, so we went over the 600, and really with X boost on, right? And I'll show you in the settings. X boost is on. You know, it wasn't able to handle it. All right, but you know, it does its job. It works. All right, good morning. It is Christmas Day, and we're actually going to be doing a solar test on the River 2 Max. All right, and what we did was they said 220 watts max. So we grabbed our 220 watt solar panel. It's a bifacial solar panel by EcoFlow. We did a couple of reviews trying all kinds of things to see if we could increase the power from the back of the panel, because it's got a front and it's got a back panel. All right, so I'll put an image in the left-hand corner if you want to see just some of the reviews we did. I'll put links in the description, but let's connect this. And let me also go over some solar specs with you, because, you know, depending if you're new, you got to know that you can't just connect any solar panel to any power station. So let's start off with the River 2 Max. So this power station has a limit, right? All of them do. So the open circuit voltage is 11 to 50 volts. And the short circuit current is 13 amps. And the watts are 220 max. Now on the panel, the open circuit voltage coming from the panel, the maximum, would be 21.6 volts. And a short circuit current would be 13 amp. So, you know, this panel can easily be connected. It's a perfect mate for the River 2 Max. So let's go ahead and just connect this. It is probably about 5 degrees right now with the wind chill factor. But all you do is take the XT60 and you want to just plug it right into the back. And, you know, this should turn on, and then we'll see what type of wattage we're receiving. It is a little cloudy, but we've also got good sun, so let's take a peek and see what we get. All right, 130, 40, 50. Now we're doing pretty good. It's going to go out and come back down. It always does that. But check this out. We are receiving 77 watts of solar out of a 220 watt panel. Now, one of the biggest reasons also is it's cold, right? So heat will affect the performance of our solar panel, all right? But not bad. So as you can see, solar works. The 220 watt solar panel is a great, match to this. I would honestly recommend the 160 watt panel too, because that panel costs a lot less. And honestly, the performance of that panel is pretty darn good. So I will put both links in the description, but we're showing 185 watts coming in on that panel. So ladies and gentlemen, that would look like a success, as Brooklyn is out in the back eating junk. So that's our solar test for you guys. Brooklyn, get out of there, girl. What are you doing? Now, if you're going to play around with solar, there's 2 things I'd recommend. One is a solar disconnector tool. All right, I'll show you how that works in a moment. And then the solar angle guide. I love this thing. So you could see here there's a dot on the front of the glass. And what happens is you put this up against the panel and you're looking for the shadow of that dot, right? And so, you know, when you put it on the panel, you want the shadow to be as close to the center as possible. And, so this really helps you get the best angle on your solar panel. All right. Now let me show you real quick. So you see the shadow? It tells me that here's the dot and there's the shadow. It tells me that I have to lift this panel up. You see how the shadow is higher? I would have to lift this up in order to get it more centered. So it really helps get the right, angle, which is important. So this is real helpful, and it's like $20. So we'll put a link in the description. As far as the solar disconnector tool, it's really simple. These pieces here are really what's helping you. So you're going to take your cable, and you're going to just take this, and you see these 2 pins? Basically, these 2 pins get pushed in by these 2 pieces. So if you can watch, you put it in that way. You see how they're kind of getting pushed in? And now you can easily disconnect your solar cable. Some people can do it with their nails, Doesn't always work, but having this little tool that's inexpensive really helps out. let's go ahead and go into pros and cons. Now, I will tell you, this has got a lot more pros than it does cons. I start with cons so I can end on a positive note. So our first con is it no longer has any type of LED light. I would have liked to see an LED light on these. You know, they are helpful, especially when you're running around and taking these camping and stuff like that. Our second con, not major at all, but the battery capacity is a little lower in comparison to the previous battery. This is 512 watt hour, and you know the max is 576 watt hour. All right, the River Max. And the previous model also had a little more power. So it was 600 watts with a 1200 watt surge, and I believe it was around 1800 watts with X Boost. All right, so those are my cons. Let's go ahead and go into the pros. So our first pro, and these are in no specific order, is this thing charges to 100% in 1 hour. That's even faster than the previous model. So I love that. Our second pro is this is now a lithium iron phosphate battery. It's got 3,000 cycles, and then it goes to 80%. This will last for years, especially if you maintain the battery. The previous model, the Max model, was 500, and then it would go to 80%. Of course, a different battery chemistry. Our next pro, this thing is 3.5 pounds lighter than the previous model. So, insanity, really. Next pro, love the flat top. Love the handle in the back as well. So nice design change. You can put stuff on top, which is very, very helpful. Our next pro, you have no AC power brick to carry. You've just got an AC charge cable that plugs into the back. EcoFlow has been doing that for an extremely long time. Our next pro, I love the EcoFlow app. Okay, you can update the firmware. You can control it via Bluetooth, via Wi-Fi, remotely. If you have to leave and go off site, you can see the capacity of your batteries. You can turn on AC, you can turn on DC, which is really helpful. So I like that. And I'd have to say, dealing with EcoFlow, their support team is really, really solid. Is it perfect? No. But you can reach them in email, you can reach them on the phone. I think email is probably one of the best ways to get them and go back and forth with them. They will do whatever they can to try to help within reason. And the last pro, this warranty went from 2 years. This is now a 5-year warranty. All right. That is our pros and our cons. So it's time for me to go over my 10 scale rating system. And guys, this is a really simple 10 scale rating system. It goes from 1.5 all the way to 10. All right. So you could see there 1.5 to 6.5, cannot recommend due to many reasons. If it goes to 7.5 and 8.5, it's got some concerns, but the product performed well. 9 to 9.5, high rating, many positives, and number 10 is the highest rating. And believe me, I don't know if I've even given out a 9 or a 10 at this point. So what does this power station get? Well, let's go to the next slide. And I'm giving this an 8.5. There's some concerns, nothing major, right? But, ultimately an 8.5 is a really strong score. Go back to the cons section in the video if you want to find out why, but I also have the pros in there as well. All right, well, that was a fun video to make. It is really nice to see EcoFlow stepping up and making these power stations better and better. And don't forget, we have our River 2 link in the description if you want to check that out afterwards. But listen, if this video helped you in any way, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. All right, if you're new to the channel, take a moment and subscribe. We would love to have you as a member of the family. Share our video with your friends, your family, and in some of the chat rooms that you're in. And follow us on social media right up there, okay? We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for your support. Hey guys, take a moment and give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. As you can see, Brooklyn, she's waving her tail for you. Take a moment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell and you'll get notified of new videos we come out with. Also, follow us and contact us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.